The big drama has rocked the Formula One world again. The heated feud between George Russell and Max Verstappen is heating up after a shocking statement. The tension between the two stars is not only on the track, but has now spread off it, inviting strong reactions from fans, teams, and even F1 officials. Is this the beginning of a great war that will define a new era in Formula One? Let's discuss it in detail. The extraordinary spat between George Russell and Max Verstappen during the last two Grands Prix of the 2024 Formula One season has heated up like never before. Although the end of the season temporarily calmed the situation, it seems that the tension will flare up again during the 2025 season. In a wide-ranging interview with Autosport, Russell spoke openly about how he has learned to stand up for himself, including criticizing the aggressive driving style of four-time world champion Verstappen. Now 26, Russell has become increasingly confident, especially after becoming Mercedes' main driver following Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari. Russell is known as a driver who sticks to his principles and does not hesitate to speak out when he feels something is unfair. He pointed out that his values often clash with Verstappen's approach on the track. George Russell did not hesitate to speak his mind about Max Verstappen's racing style, which he felt was becoming increasingly aggressive and difficult to tolerate. The British racer felt it was time for someone to stand up to the dominance of the world champion, who has often taken a very hard line on the track. I'm now entering my 7th year in F1, and as time goes on I've begun to realize my position in this sport, Russell said in a serious tone. As you become more experienced, you begin to understand the importance of your own voice. You also realize how much influence your platform has and the impact you can make in the world of racing. Therefore, I will not remain silent if I feel pressured or treated disrespectfully, either openly or in public. According to Russell, there is a tendency for young drivers in F1 to be reluctant to challenge Verstappen. This is due to Verstappen's reputation as a dominant driver and his aggressive and uncompromising racing style. However, Russell insisted that such an attitude should not be allowed to continue unchallenged. I've seen a lot of people in this life who are always trying to pressure and dominate others to get what they want, he continued confidently. In situations like this, it's very important that someone dares to stand up to them so that they don't get even more rampant. So far, I don't think anyone has really dared to stand up to Verstappen and challenge the way he plays on the track. Russell then went on to highlight several controversial incidents involving Verstappen throughout the 2024 season. He specifically mentioned several key moments, including Verstappen's collision with Lando Norris at the Mexican Grand Prix and Austin Grand Prix, as well as another incident with Oscar Piastri in Abu Dhabi that saw the McLaren driver lose valuable positions. I was very frustrated with the way last season went, said Russell in a disappointed tone. Max continues to drive with an increasingly aggressive style, showing no signs of compromise with other drivers. His aggression on track often goes beyond what is acceptable in this sport. Unfortunately, few have dared to challenge him. If we look back in history, the only driver who has ever really fought Max on equal terms was Lewis Hamilton in 2021. Back then, their battle created one of the best seasons in F1 history, with a fierce and thrilling rivalry right up to the end of the season. It didn't take long for Max Verstappen to respond to George Russell's comments. In a press conference held in the middle of pre-season testing, the Dutchman insisted that he would not change his driving style just to please others. If someone is annoyed or doesn't agree with the way I drive, that's their business. I will not change my driving style just because someone complains. Every driver has his own approach and I have proven that mine works, said Verstappen. Support for Verstappen also came from his team, Red Bull. Team boss Christian Horner made it clear that Russell had overreacted to the situation and failed to understand the limits of aggression in the world of Formula One racing. Max is a four-time world champion and he did not get there by being soft or playing it safe. Formula One is a fiercely competitive sport and if Russell wants to be a winner, he needs to prove himself on the track, not just complain in interviews, Horner said in a firm tone. However, Russell's statement proved to have a wider impact than previously thought. He revealed that after his comments were circulated, several members of the Mercedes team experienced attacks in the form of online harassment from Verstappen fans, particularly from the Netherlands. I have to admit that personally I don't pay much attention to such things. However, I have been informed that several members of my team have received a lot of negative messages via email from Dutch fans. But at the end of the day, that's part of the world of sport and life, isn't it? Said Russell, trying to calm the tension that had arisen. The 2025 Formula One season is set to be one of the most exciting in the sport's history. With tensions from last season still raw and Max Verstappen continuing his aggressive driving style, the fierce rivalry is likely to continue. Red Bull is still the dominant force, but other teams are not standing still in their attempts to gain supremacy on the track. Mercedes, now with George Russell as team principal, have shown their determination to return to the top. In his new role as the team's spearhead, Russell will face a tough challenge from Verstappen in the fight for the title. This will be a big test for the young British driver, who will have to prove that he can keep up with the reigning champion. On the other hand, the FIA is also considering the possibility of introducing new regulations regarding the limits of aggressiveness in racing. The move comes after increasing complaints from several teams and drivers who feel that Verstappen's driving style is often too aggressive. However, it is not certain if this rule will actually be implemented or if it is just a discourse that will fade away with time. If this rule is implemented, it could have a huge impact on the race strategies of several top drivers. In addition, the competition in F1 2025 will become even more interesting with the arrival of Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari. With his experience and expertise, Hamilton has the potential to bring Ferrari back to winning ways, something fans of the prancing horse team have long been waiting for. Meanwhile, Mercedes is trying to emerge from the shadow of Red Bull's dominance, which means we will see fierce battles in almost every race. Overall, the 2025 F1 season promises to be an increasingly competitive one, with several new dynamics, changes in strategy, and the possibility of stricter rules. The tension between George Russell and Max Verstappen has not only had an impact on the racetrack, but also on the dynamics of the teams competing in Formula One. Mercedes, who are trying to recover after the last 2 seasons dominated by Red Bull, now have high hopes for Russell as their team principal. They are ambitious to return to the top and give Verstappen, who has dominated the championship so far, a tougher fight. The rivalry between the two young drivers not only influenced the competition on the track, but also captured the attention of fans and the media. The drama that unfolded both on and off the track became a topic of conversation that further increased the public's enthusiasm for the F1 event. Organizers also saw a great opportunity to increase viewership and public interest in the sport, given the increasingly heated rivalry between the two stars at the peak of their careers. On the other hand, Verstappen is also under great pressure to maintain his dominance in an increasingly competitive field. In addition to Russell, who is increasingly showing his potential, talented young drivers such as Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris have big ambitions to make it to the top. In addition, the presence of Lewis Hamilton, now defending Ferrari, adds to the complexity of the competition in the 2025 season. With so many factors at play, this season is predicted to be one of the most competitive in F1 history, with each race a fierce battle between the world's best drivers. With all the drama that has taken place this season, the big question that has arisen in the minds of Formula One fans is whether George Russell really has the ability and consistency to challenge Max Verstappen's dominance on the track? Will the talented young racer be able to put up a fierce fight and destroy the world champion's supremacy, or will Verstappen maintain his position as the undisputed king? Of course, the answer will only be revealed with time and the various dynamics that occur during the season. However, one thing that cannot be denied is that the 2025 F1 season is predicted to be one of the most interesting, full of intrigue and marked by fierce competition in every race series. Let us know your opinion in the comments.